All right, so the first topic today is about the pricing and profitability analysis that we did. And we've actually conducted that here on my first visit. We took a look at what was going on and what maybe we needed to do. And I got to say, I was really disappointed when I came here because there wasn't too much to pick on. It was pretty darn good. So that's encouraging because, I'd like you to take a couple of minutes and explain to me why it was good in your mind, because I think that when you took over from Karen, and there were so many good things that Karen did, and you've expressed how, you really respected how she ran her business and that, but, you touched lightly on it before, but go in a little bit more about what you saw needed to happen as far as pricing and discounts and things when you took over this business.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, staying in touch with the industry and what the industry is doing was really important to me before I bought the business. And one of the things that happened in 2008 is that the bottom fell out of the market. We all know what was going on then. And I think people had a tendency to panic, and all of a sudden everybody wanted to discount everything and make everything like super affordable for people because they were afraid that they were going to lose clients. And even in Picture Framing magazine, there were articles in there that were like, okay, how can we save your business? And actually the art walk was one of the ways that was suggested in there that we adopted, that we maintained, that has been a very positive thing. And we did do some discounting with Karen before we bought the business. But what I observed is that we were working so hard, and we had a lot of work coming in, but it was all very simple. Not a lot of focus on high-end design. And so it was like we were working and working, but we weren't really making much. And I just felt that we needed to get back to the roots of what this industry was about as a custom frame shop.
Okay.
Because we're not just a frame shop, we're a custom frame shop.
So you realized that it had to go in a different direction, and you said, well, one way to do that is to have some standards as far as discounting goes.
Yep.
Did you also take a look at the pricing that you were using and say we need to increase that?
I did. I looked at as best I could without being formally trained, because that's where you've come in, as being able to look at and learn how to break that out and look at it realistically, the numbers. So I spent a lot of time looking at numbers and not necessarily understanding what numbers I was looking at, but I was looking at the price per piece.
Yeah, I think
average.
You're pretty modest. You had to have understood, because you made some great moves.
Yeah.
As we're going to talk, we'll actually get to the numbers. I think you understand more than you're letting on, and it's vital, right? I mean, the fact that you've had 6 years of doing things the right way. We're going to reveal a little bit about what that's meant to you, and I think that, Larry, when you were talking earlier about the fact that it's given you confidence to know that your work, your efficiency, your work is going towards the right pricing, and that you're being reimbursed at the right levels for the kind of quality product that you're producing. That was pretty huge to hear you say that.
Well, and it is because if you feel like if someone says, well, can you afford us a discount? And we did. With the art community, we still provide a 10% discount to those members. We provide a 10% discount for active military. This is our way of showing them that we appreciate their business, and that we enjoy working with them, and they're very happy with that. Very happy with that. Yeah. And with that, we're both of the notion that when you go to a counter and someone says, do you have your coupon? No, I don't have a coupon. And I just want to know, as a consumer myself, that I'm getting the best product for the best money, and I don't have to worry about whether I'm getting a deal or not. And so that's the way we That's the philosophy that we've used here.
Well, you've done a great job with that, and the analysis showed it. We're going to share some of that stuff. So let's first talk about what happens in an analysis, what we do when we analyze a business like this. And what we do is we ask for the last 12 months of operating expenses. We take a look at your P&L. And why is that? We want to see how much is coming in, how much we're spending for materials, and how much is being spent and where it's going, okay? Because the bottom line is that after you pay for your materials, then the money that you have left has to pay for all the expenses of running the business, and maybe even have some left over if you're lucky enough, so that you're actually accumulating cash that can keep the place up and be invested in further marketing and inventory and all the things that help a business grow. And what's cool is you understand that. So let's share some of that. You know, what we found was this, that your overall gross margin, or those dollars that were left over after you pay for your materials, was 72%. Now, what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything in a number itself. Okay, it means something to me because after you've looked at about 200 of these, that's that range. You know, it used to be you could take a seminar not too long ago, and somebody could stand up in front of you and say that your cost of goods ought to run about 30%, which means that your gross margin would be about 70%, and that should be okay. That's a very dangerous message to give out these days, because it really, you know, between rent factors and labor and all the other things that are out there and the increased cost of operating a business, you can't just put a number on it, okay? So the 72% means nothing in itself. But how do we know it's good? Because that 72% produced an 18% gross profit for your company. You're probably the most profitable small shop, and you're not that small, but you know, that I've ever seen. Yeah. So when I say it's good news, it's really good news. You should feel wonderful about that, because 18% of all of your sales are being retained by the company after you pay yourself, pay your employees, pay for all these things, and that's very, very healthy. That's not only are you charging the right pricing and curtailing the discounts properly, but you're budgeting and controlling that very well also, and you're not over investing in yourselves or in inventory and things that put things out of whack. So you've just done a tremendously great job of doing that, and I can't stress that enough because it was really cool to see. I think I talked about this in the beginning, and I want to say it again. Your discounts are less than 1% of your sales. And that's what allows you to have this 18% gross profit. So the industry average is 18% of, if discounts are 18% of sales in the average frame shop. In this frame shop, it's less than 1%. So if you were the average frame shop, your profits for last year would have been $38,000 lower than what they were.
All right.
You would have had you would have lost money.
I can't even imagine that, because there isn't. We wouldn't have a business if it was that much less. Literally, we wouldn't. We would either be down to just the two of us doing the work, or 1.5 of it. I mean, I don't know how people can do that.
Well, yeah, it's not something that's sustainable, that's for sure.
No.
You can't run a negative, but what happens then is people say, well, I'll go borrow some money, or I'll quit. What I see most often, I'll quit paying myself.
Yeah.
And I'll have a job, but I won't make much money.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all kinds of ways that people work around that, but you know, the fact that it's working for you, and the fact that you understand, you know, that you're controlling costs while charging the right amount for your product, and that you have a volume that's sustainable through that is really, really important.